Namaskar, Jai Shri Krishna. Enunciating text 39, text 40 and text 41 of chapter 1 questions by Vidura, 3rd Canto, Status Quo, Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 39. Yama Bhuta Svita Tana Yau Pruthayaha Parthaira Vrutau Pakshma Bhirakshiniva Remat Udadaya Mrudhe Swariktham Parata Suparna Viva Vajri Vaktrat are the twin brothers who are protected by their brothers doing well. Just as the eye is always protected by the eyelid, they are protected by the sons of Prutha, who snatched back their rightful kingdom from the hands of their enemy Duryodhan. Just as Garud snatched nectar from the mouth of Indra, the thunderbolt carrier. Indra, the king of heaven, carries a thunderbolt in his hand and is very strong, yet Garud, the carrier of Lord Vishnu, was able to snatch nectar from his mouth. Similarly, Duryodhan was as strong as the king of heaven, and still the sons of Prutha, the Pandavas, were able to snatch away their kingdom from Duryodhan. Both Garud and the Parthas are pet devotees of the Lord, and thus it was possible for them to face such strong enemies. Vidur's inquiry was about the youngest brothers of the Pandavas, namely Nakul and Sahadev. These twin brothers were sons of Madri, the stepmother of the other Pandavas. But although they were stepbrothers, because Kunti took charge of them after the departure of Madri with her husband Maharaj Pandu, both Nakul and Sahadev were as good as the other three Pandavas, namely Yudhishthir, Bhim and Arjun. The 5 brothers are known in the world as regular brothers. The 3 elder Pandavas took care of the younger brothers just as the eyelid takes care of the eye. Vidur was anxious to know whether, after winning back their own kingdom from the hands of Duryodhan, the younger brothers were still living happily under the care of the elder brothers. Text 40. Aho Pruthapi Dhriyate Arbhakarthe Rajarishi Varayen Vinapi Tena Yastveka Viro Adhiratho Vijigye Dhanurdvitiyaha Kakubhasha Chatasraha. O my lord, is Prutha still living? She lived only for the sake of her fatherless children, otherwise it was impossible for her to live without King Pandu, who was the greatest commander and who alone conquered the 4 directions simply with the help of a second bow. A faithful wife cannot live without her lord the husband, and therefore all widows used to voluntarily embrace the burning fire which consumed the dead husband. This system was very common in India because all the wives were chaste and faithful to their husbands. Later on, with the advent of the age of Kali, the wives gradually began to be less adherent to their husbands, and the voluntary embrace of the fire by the widows became a thing of the past. Very recently, the system was abolished since the voluntary system had become a forcible social custom. When Maharaj Pandu died, both his wives, namely Kunti and Madri, were prepared to embrace the fire, but Madri requested Kunti to live for the sake of the younger children, the 5 Pandavas. This was agreed upon by Kunti at the added request of Vyasdev. In spite of her great bereavement, Kunti decided to live, not to enjoy life in the absence of her husband, but only to give protection to the children. This incident is referred to here by Vidur because he knew all the facts about his sister-in-law Kunti Devi. It is understood that Maharaj Pandu was a great warrior and that he alone, with the help of bow and arrow, could conquer the world's 4 directions. In the absence of such a husband, it was almost impossible for Kunti to live on even as a widow, but she had to do it for the sake of the 5 children. Text 41. Saumyanu shoche tamadhaha patantam bhratre paretaya vidudruhe yaha nirayapito yena surut swapurya aham swaputran sa manuvraten. O gentle one, I simply lamented for he Dhritarashtra, who rebelled against his brother after death. By him I was driven out of my own house, although I am his sincere well-wisher because he accepted the line of action adopted by his own sons. Vidur did not ask about the welfare of his elder brother because there was no chance of his well-being, only news of his gliding down to hell. Vidur was a sincere well-wisher for Dhritarashtra, and he had a thought about him in the corner of his heart. He lamented that Dhritarashtra could rebel against the sons of his dead brother Pandu, and that he could drive him, Vidur, out of his own house on the dictation of his crooked sons. In spite of these actions, Vidur never became an enemy of Dhritarashtra but continued to be his well-wisher, and at the last stage of Dhritarashtra's life, it was Vidur only who proved to be his real friend. Such is the behavior of a Vaishnava like Vidur. He desired all good even for his enemies. Hare Krishna.